Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches NIDDAH Daf Yud Beis. We begin right on top of the Amud Bo'imine. This was a question posed by Rabbi Zera from Rabbi Yehuda. As we heard yesterday, typically a woman is considered becheskas tahara, presumed to be tahar, unless proven otherwise. It's just that if a woman is involved in taharis, handling truma and kachim, there's a special stringency regarding those materials that requires her to do periodical examinations to ensure that in fact she's tahar. But regarding other matters, regarding mundane chulin, regarding being with her husband, no bedika is required. And the question would be, is there room to be strict, to be machmir, to go above the basic requirement, and to do a bedika to confirm her status vis-a-vis the husband? What's your opinion regarding a woman being boydek shetivdek atzma lebala regarding her husband? Amar Lei says no. Don't do it. Lo tivdek. She shouldn't. Asks the Gemara, what harm is there? V'tivdek. Let her do it to ma'bekach. Why does it matter to us? The answer is, it can cause a distancing of emotions. If that's the case, he knows that she's not really required, so why is she doing it? To him, that perhaps is an indication that something is amiss. That perhaps she's feeling something and that will just trigger anxiety on the part of the husband, and he'll back off. In Cain, if that's the case, liboy noik, the heart will palpitate. Liboy noik foy, upoyer, he'll back off. Boy minei Rabbi Abba, me Rav Huna. Some say actually it was the same people as before. Some say they were different Amoraim, and he asked them a very similar question. So the previous, it was a question of pre being together. Now it's post together. Isha mao shetivdek atzma kashir vest. What would you say about a woman doing an examination after being together with her husband, kashir vest, within that very short immediacy time frame? Vest means miyad, right away. What's the point? Kedei l'chayev balachatos, so that if she discovers dam, it confirms that she was in a NIDDAH state while they were together, and they have to bring yechatos due to the fact that they inadvertently transgressed being together as in a NIDDAH state. Amar Lesi says it's an impossible proposition. You can't conceivably do a proper examination so close to the experience, which would confirm that in fact the experience was done when she was at NIDDAH. It takes a while, and that distancing of time casts a doubt on whether in fact she had been already in this state when they were together. He says, how could you even find a possibility libdika to make an examination kshir vest within that very short immediate time frame? Vatani of a brisa. Is it shir vest? What's considered shir vest? Which if she discovers herself to be a NIDDAH immediately after being together, that confirms that in fact she was that way when they were together as well. It has to be for 1 second to the next. Otherwise you never know, maybe it just arrived. Mashal. So an analogy would be like this. L'shamash ve'ed. Shamash, Rashi says, is the male organ, the aver. Ve'ed and the cloth. So it's like you have two things at the doorway. One out, one in. That's the degree of immediacy that's required to confirm that what you found out was there a millisecond before. Mashal l'shamash ve'ed. Sho'imnim who are both standing beside the mashkev at the doorway. B'tzias hashamash, as the shamash leaves, nichnas eidei goes have. So in fact, this qualifies as vest. Have vest she'amru l'kinuach. Oh, have. If so, it turns out that vest she'amru. When the Chachamim tell us, this is a Mishnah later, that if the dam was discovered vest immediately after being together, it would confirm that they are chay b'chatos because she was already a NIDDAH when they were together. That cannot possibly have occurred if she did a proper, full examination. It takes time to get the cloth. The only way is l'kinuach, if it was just an external wipe, but not through a proper bedika. So yeah, if you want to do a quick kinuach, that can happen very close to the act right away, and can confirm that in fact the blood found now was already there a second before. But you're suggesting a full bedika. It takes too long. And even if the bedika does uncover dam, it could have happened after the experience. Elos, or rather, the question was ma'ushet hakaneach. Okay, granted, bedika is not relevant for my question. But what about a kinuach, an external wife? Should she do that immediately afterwards? Yikada Amri. Some had a different version, that in fact, he wasn't asking regarding confirming. He asked him like this: Isha, should a person do a proper bedika after the fact? True. It's not going to be relevant regarding confirming status. You can't bring a chatos. Even if dam was discovered, what about Osham Tali, which you bring when there is an uncertainty, when there is a chance of transgression? So do a proper bedika, which takes a couple of seconds, and even at that point, if you find dam, true, you can't bring a chatos, but it's going to cast a suffix on their experience, and there's room to think that perhaps she was already in NIDDAH when they were together, and they would have to bring Osham Tali. He says, no, even this. So basically his response to his question whether in the first version or in the second version was no, loy tivdik. And the question was the same as before, why not? V'tivdik, what's there to lose? The answer is he's going to back off. It's going to generate unnecessary, unwarranted anxiety on his part. Okay, so again, an isha is not meant to do bedikos unless she's involved in taharis. In that case, it's sort of a package deal. Because we're concerned about taharis, that triggers the whole series of bedika obligations, like we had in yesterday's Mishnah, and specifically before and after being with her husband. B'shoshi Averis. So Mishnah says that she has to do a bedika as she's approaching the Rabbi Yanai. This aid, this cloth, meaning this bedika, is meant for tsunuis, righteous women. What do you mean? Our Tana, the Mishnah, requires it. Tani, it says tzricha, she has to. But Tani tsunus, you say it's something, especially conscientious people, something of a chumrah. Amar Lacey says, well, yeah, a person who does what he's supposed to do deserves honorable titles. Amar Lacey, Shani Omer, I maintain kolamakayim divrei chacham. Person who fulfills the directive of the chachamim, such as doing a bedika in its proper time. Nikrot tzunua, call it tzunua. Amar Rava, so you mean to imply that it's something honorable, and if it's missed, you just lose that honorable mention, but you're not a transgressor? Amar Rava, she'eino yimekayim divrei chachamim. So you mean that if a person neglects the instructions of the chachamim, okay, so he loses that extra righteousness. So no, mikri, he's not given that special status. Ha-rasha le-mikri is not called a rasha. Of course he is. He's meant to follow the mitzvahs of Chazal. What do you mean? Hello, my Rava. Let me explain to you what's going on. Of course, it's standard procedure. Every woman who's involved in taharis is meant to do these bedikas. So why are we giving her, an honorable title for doing so? We're talking not about the basic bedika that she's doing. Of course, everybody's required. It's an obligation. We're talking about doing it in an extra special way, an extra careful way. Elam Rava, it's noise. These righteous women aid the cloth. They use a separate new cloth every time to ensure that it's pristine, and it will discover even a minuscule amount of dam. That's what's special about them. Aid shebatkovei atzma. The cloth that she used before this time, they didn't use the same one next time. But a regular woman, so the regular women do, without this, added concern. Okay, goof. Let's go back to yesterday's Gemara. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rabbi Abba, Bar Yirmiyah, he quotes Amar Shmuel. Is the best. A woman who does not have a set, consistent pattern for periods, and she's involved in taharis. before she's together with her husband, she requires a bedika. Amali Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Abba Bar Yirmiyah. Why are you specifying a woman without a vest? Only she has to do a bedika. If anything, ain't la vest by a bedika. Geish la vest by a bedika. Only the one without a vest needs bedika. Otherwise, she has a set pattern for periods. There's no bedika required. We had this discussion yesterday, and the Mishnah clearly indicated otherwise. Even Isha with a vest, if she's involved in taharis, is required to make bedikas. Omar, like he said, you're right. Bedika applies all across the board, but there are differences. A woman without a vest is more likely to have an unexpected arrival of dam. So we have to be extra careful. Amar Lacy says, Yeshla vest. If she has a vest, then Eira, she's awake and she's actively walking involved in taharis. By bedika, then she needs a bedika. But Yishem, she's already asleep. She's not, in any case, interacting with taharis in that state. So then we suspend the requirement of bedika. But an ain't vest, if she doesn't have a vest, then we're more machmer. And the bedika is required in all circumstances. Bein Eira, whether awake, bein Yishem, she's asleep. By bedika. Amar Rav had a question on this. You're looking for a distinction between a woman with a vest and a woman without a vest. Let me suggest something. Well, Emily could have answered, it depends. There's a vest. If she has a vest, then the risk is lower. So la taharis by bedika. When she's handling taharis, yes bedika. But labal la bedika. Regarding being with her husband, a bedika is not required. But ain't la vest. If she has no vest, so the chances are higher. I feel labal anami by bedika. In that case, bedika is required even just to be with her husband. In fact, they did not respond in kind. Shema mina. What does that tell us about Shmuel's opinion? Because of Shmuel, that in fact, call Abala regarding her husband only. Bedika is not required. Rashi adds the words, if she's not a person involved in taharis, then there's no bedika for the husband. So this reader gets the point over and over again. In a typical situation, an Isha does not need bedikas. Whether she has a vest or does not have a vest, we assume she's b'cheskas tahara unless she's involved in taharis. We're extra strict regarding those matters. And once that happens, then the woman is chayv to make bedikas for her husband as well, before and after being together. Tanu Rabban. Further on this topic, chamaran, these donkey drivers, right, these truckers, upayalin workers, so they were out for a while and they come back home. Those who come back from a levaya, from a mourner's home, or a wedding, they're back home. What's the status of their women? Could they presume that they're still tahar as they were when they left town? Yep. They assume their women are still tahar, and they can come and approach them without asking them, be with them, ben yishenis, ben eris, whether the women are awake or asleep. That's not the... There's no concern of status change unless they know otherwise. When do we say this? Is so they left them when they were tar, so they assume that they stayed in that state. If they left them in a state of tumah, then they can't just assume things have changed. She's considered tummy. She explicitly tells him, I'm tar. End of Bryce. Now, the Bryce seems to indicate that we're talking even about an Isha who's involved in taharis, who needs a bedika. So the question will be, how does Shmuel learn this Bryce? Bryce says, a woman who's involved in taharis does not need bedikas, whether she's awake or asleep. Shmuel, but my mukila. How does Shmuel explain this Bryce? Which woman are we speaking about? Yesh lavest, wain lavest. If it's yesh lavest, so the chances are slimmer, but even in that case, she needs a bedika if she's up and awake, up and about. Kasha era. So why does the Brisa say that she's awake, no bedika is required? If she has no vest, even the more so, she has to make a bedika whether she's awake or asleep. Kasha bein era ben yishem. The answer is like this: we're talking about an isha who has a pattern. So your question was, if she's up and around, then why doesn't she need a bedika? Why doesn't she have to confirm her status through a bedika? The answer is v'kivan she'tava. Since she's awake, and the husband was taver here, requested her company. Rashi says, Shatais adds, since he was away for a while. He approaches her and engages with her in a more lengthy manner than if he was just around all the time. So, because of that experience, that pre-together experience, there's no greater confirmation of status than this. And Rashi explains, because if she wasn't 100% certain that she was tahor, then she would say something. So this is considered like a confirmation, like a bedika, and she's considered tahor. So bottom line, this brisa presents a number of leniencies. For example, that by Yushain, if she's asleep, no need to actually wake her up, even though she's not at the height of her awareness. Nevertheless, there's no need to have outright confirmation of her status. And the question is, should one actually follow this mode? Amar Papa, he asked L'Rava, should one follow the halacha in the brisa, or perhaps rather he should ensure that she's awake and aware, and perhaps broach it with her? Return to my base. Amar he says no. Sudni, he called him in a very honorable way. He says Sudni. Rashi says Talmud Chacham. Sudni is because of the pasuk in Tehillim, Soid. Hashem's secrets are conveyed. The secrets of the Torah are conveyed li'rev to his the ones who fear him, the ones who are righteous and outstanding. So he says Sudni. You're a great man, but still, don't be machmer above the requirement. Loi de megan yevape, because otherwise she might lose favor in his eyes. If it's a whole to-do and a whole discussion, a whole, bring up the option of perhaps there was dum-dum, and it's going to temper the mood, and it's not advised. Very similar to the Gemara before. One should not be machmer in these matters of bedikas. In fact, Omar of Kahana, I was curious. I wanted to know firsthand, how do the Chachamim conduct themselves in this manner? So I asked, instead of asking the Chachamim themselves, I asked their wives. In a minute, the Gemara will explain why. Amar Rav Kahana Shaltino. In fact, I personally asked Linshi Beisei, the members of the household, meaning the wife of the Rav Papa, or the Rav Huna B'Rav Yeshua, what's the mode of conduct in their homes? So when they return from the yeshiva, what do they require of them? Ki osur Rabbanan, when the Chacham return mibirah from the yeshiva, matzrichei lechu bedika, do they require you to make a bedika? V'amrli, they said no, loy. So that confirms that in fact, in their very homes, they were lenient as well. Why did they go to the wives? Why not to the Rabbanan themselves? They should have asked. He should have asked them to do the Rabbanan themselves. He was concerned that perhaps, although for themselves they are strict, but they're going to rule leniently. And he wanted to know what they really do at home for themselves. What is their personal standards? So for that he had to go to the wives. Dilma, because he was concerned that perhaps Dilma Inu, they kamach miri on themselves, they impose stringencies. And he wouldn't divulge it. That's why he went to the wives. Tanarabban. Isha shein lavest. So we had the halacha before in the name of Shmuel that even Isha without a vest, no need to make bedikahs regarding her husband. Now comes an interesting machlekes. It's like from one extreme to the other. There'll be a shita that an Isha shein lavest carries a high risk of unexpected dam, in which case you can't even be married to her. So we have opinions from one extreme to the other. Isha she'en lavest. Isha does not have an established track record, a pattern of seeing dam. You never know what's going to come. Asur l'shama. She can't spend time with her husband. They can't be together. Ve'en lo like ksuba. She's not entitled to ksuba payat because this marriage is invalid. V'lei peres. Nor is he entitled to reap the fruit, the produce off her properties, which is standard procedure for a married couple. V'lei mezoinos. Nor is she entitled to support mezoinos food, even if she borrowed money when he was out of town. She, charged the credit card. He doesn't have to pay it up. Nor nor if the items that she brought into the marriage got worn out, she doesn't get them back. He has to divorce and can't remarry her forever. And the Gemara later will explain why the added, emphasis. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir takes a very strict position on this matter. He says, a woman who carries a high risk of an unexpected dam, you can't be married to her. We don't even allow it with Badika, it's just in case it doesn't work. No, we don't want to run the risk of any unexpected transgressions. Rabbi Chanina ben Tignas Omer, he takes a middle route. He says, I understand there's an issue, so Mishamesh b'shnei Eidim. She'll be together with him by way of Eidim, meaning they'll have the cloths to do an examination, and now she'll know whether she's okay. Hey nivsuha, hey tikenuha, they can throw her off, meaning if she discovers dam on the cloth before, and hey tiknuha, they actually help her. If they turn out to be, if the cloths turn out to be clean, so then she's okay. So although it's less than ideal, but if she performs a series of bedikas before and after, we know she's okay. Mishum Abba Chanan Amru. It was quoted the name of Abba Chanan. Woe to her husband. Why? We'll see soon. Now we go back to Rabbi Meir, who says Asur l'shamish, she can't be with him. Why? The woman mekalkos, like she can throw him off, she can cause him to transgress. She might unexpectedly experience dam. Ksuba, she's not entitled to ksuba payout because that's part and parcel of the marriage. She can't. She's not suitable to be with him. Less ksuba, she's not entitled to ksuba. V'loy peiros, v'loy mezonos, v'loy no those other ksuba elements because they're part of the ksuba package. No ksuba, then none of these either. Tanai ksuba, the conditions in the ksuba, the elements within the ksuba, have the same status of the actual ksuba dam. So no ksuba, so it all falls by the wayside. He has to divorce and he can't remarry. Pshita, obviously, he has to divorce. Why would you think he could remarry? The answer is like this: Leitzricha must be speaking the hadra v'takma. She went and found a good doctor and she recalibrated herself, and now she established a track record, healthy as can be. Perhaps the husband can take her back. Perhaps he can think the had reason to take her back. The point is, no, we don't allow it. Once you depart, you can't take her back. You know why? We're concerned the zimnin might happen to Oslo Minsapa. After he divorces, she'll go and remarry. She'll remedy herself. And she'll establish a vest, and the first husband, Reuven, will discover that his wife was really healthy, after all. And he'll go ahead and challenge the get. If only I would have known, I would never have divorced. V'amar will say, if I would have known that this is the case, even if you would have given me $1 million, I wouldn't have divorced her. Get batal, which will result in an invalid get. That doesn't mean technically invalid. It means to say that it's going to make it's going to cast a halo on the get. It will appear that the get is in question and the children are mamzerim. He's going to challenge the whole divorce in the second marriage. So in order to avoid any impressions of impropriety, we say, look, let it be known, once you divorce, it's over. You can't take it back regardless. So then he's not motivated to come and make trouble. Okay, that's the Meir's opinion, very strict opinion. Isha shein lavest is not suitable for marriage. Mishum abachan amru is quoted in his name. Oil lebal, to the husband. Ikadam, some explain the Rabbi Meir amali. He's referring to Rabbi Meir who says that he must divorce, but he doesn't have to pay out the ksuba. To which abachan adds, yes, the boy lakbui ksubasa. It's not her fault. He has to pay the ksuba. Look, he married her. He has to divorce, but he has to pay it out. So the husband is sort of bold on bold. He has to divorce and and he has to pay it out. Some explain that he was going on the other opinion, the lenient opinion, which allows them to be together by way of examinations. He's referring to that Tana to come a calculus lady. You're really ruining her. Rashi explains if you're going to utilize the cloths system, well. True, the pre-experience inspection will confirm that she's tired for the time being, but maybe during, when they're together, that in itself can trigger a hormonal, response, which will trigger dam. You never know. Okay, so we have 3 opinions, which is mainly 2 opinions in the Brisa. Reb Meir says, Ein Lavest, can't be married, not suitable, because of the risk that she carries. We have Rabbi Chanina ben Antignois, who says, with the inspection system, you can work it out. And then we actually had Shmuel, throughout yesterday's daf and today's daf, goes to the other side of the spectrum. He says, no, inspections are never required unless there's taharis involved. Regarding her husband, Cheska Tahara tells us that she's okay, even by Ein Lavest. Amar Yehuda, Amar Shmuel Halacha, Ki Rabbi Chanina ben Antignois. We're passing like that shita that bedikers can confirm her status, and then she's okay. Ask the Gemara, what do you mean? Ubemai. What's the nature of this? What's going on? What's the circumstance? Is she a woman involved in the food service industry? Is she involved in taharis? Then of course she needs bedikas. It's old news. Shmuel already told us earlier. Then in that case, bedikas is required not for the husband, but for the taharis, and because of the taharis, also for the. If it's a woman who's not involved in taharis, then why bedikas at all? Shmuel already told us that regarding her husband, bedikas is not required. Even an issue without a vest, who carries a high risk of unexpected dam arrival. So asur l'shamash hashativdik. True. Before she's together, she has to do bedika. But we already explained on that. But asukah b'taharis, it's specific. It's limited to a woman's involved in taharis, but otherwise no chiv bedika. So I repeat the same halacha again. The answer is Shmuel only said it once. There are different quotes. One quoted it this way, one quoted it the other way, but it was really only said once. Man de Masniho, the one that presented it this way, in the name of Shmuel, Le Masniho didn't present it the other way. So bottom line, Shmuel said it once, that an Isha never requires bedikas unless she's involved in taharis, but otherwise no bedikas are required whether she has a vest or ain't a vest. So conclusion, regarding a Isha she'ein la vest, we have 3 shittas. Rabbi Meir says, unsuitable for marriage. Rabbi Chanina ben Antignois says, she can be married provided she has a bedika regimen in place. Shmuel says, no. For a husband, Cheskas Tahara does not require any bedikas. All the best to you and Atzlach.